These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Okay, time for some statements and questions here on Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd, presented in part by the best frozen pizza on the market. Legit pizza, gentlemen, which you can find in most grocery store freezer sections near you in the Twin Cities. We're talking throwback style pizza parlor vibes. That stone-baked cracker thin crust, zesty tomato sauce. I have to show some restraint because I can't fit all of the boxes in the shopping cart every time. So it's like pick a couple at a time, maybe the sausage and mushroom, pepperoni, and then you go get a couple more the next weekend. But yeah, stop by a local grocery store freezer section, have an authentic at-home pizza parlor experience. So, Judd, why don't you lead us off here?
I will indeed.
Pun intended.
I will indeed. I will, with a solid knock. In fact, you know what? I'm going to approach my at-bat holding in my hot two hands a torpedo bat and ask you this question. How did we miss, or how did we not know, not informed about the advent, the creation of what's being called the torpedo bat? Now, it came to light, I believe it was on the Yankees game on Saturday. Michael Kay, their TV voice, talked about this bat that shifts the barrel down closer to the hands, creates what looks like a mallet in some ways. Long story short, the Yankees swept the Brewers in 3 games. They hit 15 home runs. Cody Bellinger was one of about 5 guys on the Yankees using the torpedo bat, and he remarked that this was a bat that actually was around last season, and Bellinger said when he was with the Cubs, he dabbled and tried it, but didn't use the torpedo bat in games. It sounds like Jeffers for the Twins used the bat on Sunday, but wouldn't talk about it. Carlos Correa talked about its existence, but said he needs a year of data, the science behind the use of this bat. Anyway, how did we, and by we, I mean everybody, how did we miss the fact that there has basically been a new bat developed that changes where the barrel is, and now has become probably, for the opening portion of the season, the biggest talker out there?
It is fascinating. We're also trying to parse apart like how much of it was, because it's tied for the most home runs ever through 3 games. So it's an eye-opening amount of productivity. Could it just be a great weekend and the bats are like 5% of it, but they're getting a bunch of credit because, like Aaron Judge hits home runs? Or are we going to see 80% of hitters in baseball using this new bat, or is the league going to have to adjust to it? It does kind of remind you of when the ball was changed clearly in 2019 across all teams, but in this case, it's like the bat's changed for one team, and then there's a couple isolated hitters who use this across. But it sounds like the Yankees, like their whole lineup was using this bat, right? Or most of the
5 guys,
everyone.
Just 5 guys, 5
guys,
Okay.
and Judge did not.
Yeah, Judd.
So you get Judge hitting home runs
with the
just
normal
period,
bat. Yes.
And then you get these other guys getting the boost.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
Judge
really
had some
interesting.
cheeky kind of like, until my numbers start to drop, I don't think I have to use no X.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, but to Judd's point, remember the axe bat phenomenon? Like, I think this was maybe 5 or 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember when that was a similar thing too. Like, well, what the hell is the axe bat, and where did this come from? Maybe we should go back and listen to podcasts from 6 years ago on the axe bat, or what people were saying when it first came out, because this has been around for a while now, or at least for the last year. It's maybe been hidden. Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is very, very, very weird. It sounds like a Major League Baseball bat, if you're built like Declan, is already hard enough to swing at full good bat speed. I gotta imagine that's like a heavy ass bat to swing through with the weight on top of that bat.
Nah, it said it just changes where the weight is, so it moves
just
the barrel
redistributed,
closer
yeah.
to you. So it's not the weight, but I read some pretty good quotes about this is basically going to cause pitchers to pitch away more because where the barrel is now is thinner, and so I think the Brewers' problem was they were trying to jam the Yankees hitters, and if you jam them now, it's basically the same premise if you choke up.
So
it
like
brings
if
the barrel
the ball,
closer to you.
if the ball hits the trademark, essentially, ordinarily you would not have a ball. It'd be hard to hit it out of the ballpark. But now that is more barrel substance, right?
Yeah, and so where the barrel was is now not the barrel.
But what's crazy is like you can only do so much with a bat because there are weight and length restrictions.
Correct.
It's not like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Cooperstown, but they have some of Babe Ruth's old bats from the 1920s and early 30s. He's literally swinging a telephone pole. Like the bats that would be completely illegal in 2025 or even like 1995.
Correct.
But because he could handle swinging this like super heavy long bat, and pitchers also weren't throwing 100 miles an hour back in the 1920s. They were probably throwing 83, 85 miles an hour. And he would just he'd get that thing around and boom, hit the ball 450 feet. But you can't just like use a heavier bat now. It all has to fit into certain parameters. So it's literally the physics of where the distribution of weight is, right?
Right. So the adjustment, which I'm sure will come quickly, will be for pitchers to pitch away, and because if you jam guys now, they're going to get the ball on the barrel. So if you pitch away. And that ordinarily would be where a guy could barrel the ball up. That's gone. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a cat and mouse game. I'm just amazed that nobody who like covers baseball in spring training learned about this. Like the bat looks different. Like if you look, it looks like a damn mallet.
Yeah, it does.
So just interesting to me.
Yeah, those incompetent baseball writers out there.
Why? Hey Dex, why do we think Jeffers won't talk about it?
I don't know. I think maybe here's my first guess. I wasn't in there obviously on Sunday.
Sure.
Because Jeffers is like he won Media Good Guy last week. He's an awesome guy to talk hitting and baseball with. I'm sure maybe just the frustrating series sweep. He just probably wasn't in the mood to talk. Is my first guess, but maybe in a pregame conversation after a couple wins over the White Sox, we can get some more info on that.
Yeah, it might just be a strategic thing that some guys. It's such a hot topic right now. Maybe guys would rather just keep it under the radar. I don't know.
It's time to cork bats more.
Yeah, let's go back to the
Sammy
late
Sosa.
90s, early 2000s.
I'm on roids and my bat exploded and it's got Super Bowls. But besides that, I'm not cheating at all.
Yeah. Hey, it's the most fun baseball ever was. And if this is a way to inject some more offense into the game in a legal way, then so be it. Let's make it fun. All right, Dex.
Okay, so I experienced a St. Louis opening day, and I've heard about St. Louis's opening day of being a big spectacle. I walked around Ballpark Village, which was really cool. There's open container laws in Missouri, so there's just people roaming around with beers already at 10 a.m. when I walked down there at Thursday. It was cool to see. But in terms of the on-field pregame festivities, I guess my statement is this was the most over-the-top and obnoxious thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, on TV it felt that way too.
Like, okay, and I will defend something that I have an irrational fear of. The Clydesdales, awesome. Okay, I'm okay with the Clydesdales. I even got to see them up close in person at a Budweiser tour on Friday. And as someone who is still terrified of horses, like it is a marvelous thing to look at when you're that close to a horse that large. I was good with the Clydesdales, and they also snuck them in right before the rain hit. Like they had formally announced, we're in a rain delay, but we're going to let the Clydesdales go first so we can get that part out of the way. I was fine with that. What I did not appreciate and what I did not understand was 26 trucks for 26 players that entered from right field and wrapped all the way around the warning track, all the way to the dugout, to the plate, so they could then jump off the truck bed, which my sports dad in me tells me I'm not having, Victor Scott pop a hamstring as he jumps out of this truck bed on opening day. So
This
we've already
sponsored, right? Clearly, this had to have been sponsored.
I think it was. And they did the same thing too. They brought back I want to say 7, 8 Cardinals Hall of Famers. That was cool to see. But same thing. All of them in convertibles because some of these guys they're too old. They can't jump out of a truck bed at this point.
Yeah, Tony La Russa and Joe Torre
are not jumping out of any truck beds. So we've already had a 90-minute rain delay on opening day. It's already been a thing. They announced a 4:45 first pitch. I don't think we started till 5 o'clock because there was a 40-minute truck bed situation with all this stuff happening. way too obnoxious, man. I mean, it was so over the top, and maybe I need to go experience other opening days to compare it to. That would probably be fair before I give too much criticism to St. Louis's opening day, but just a ridiculous spectacle.
So they honored the 85 NL champions, right?
Yes.
Okay, that should not be allowed on opening day. Like that's ridiculous. Like, that's a night in August. Bring back first of all, they choked. They didn't win the World Series. Second of all, like, it's one thing to do the players. I get it. They all, and I don't enjoy it, but you line them up on the line, you call their name. It's a thrill for them, blah, blah, blah. But what are you doing having a ceremony for a team? Like, imagine if they were to bring back the 91 Twins, okay? Which they've done a bunch of times. They love to. But imagine if they did that on opening day and created a separate ceremony. It's ridiculous.
It's a lot. But you know what? St. Louis, they don't have an NFL team anymore. They don't have an NBA team.
It's like pace again, though, Phil. Pace.
They're also... There's a lot of bad fans are not happy with the Cardinals the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So anything they can throw out there that's nostalgic or gets people excited, I think they're guarded about the product on the field is not projected to be all that great, despite what you saw in that series against the Twins. Yeah.
They got off to a great start.
There was one guy I was trying to, because everybody else was really recognizable. Scotty Rowland, they all look kind of old now. There's one guy I was like, who's that tall gray? He's got like a gray kind of goatee. It was Matt Morris. Do you guys remember early 2000s Matt Morris? Good pitcher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I owned him.
And the first in fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball.
In rotisserie. I owned him.
I love shorthand Judd. I own him.
Yeah, I own him.
I owned him. He was pretty effective. He was a pretty good player.
But I thought about the sports dad because I was like, Matt Morris. I did some Googling during the game. Like, what's his deal? Cardinals Hall of Fame.
He's very effective, yes. He's not a Hall of Famer for him.
Is he a Cardinals? Should he be a Cardinals Hall of Famer?
No, the bar for the Cardinals Hall should be
two-time All-Star.
Extremely high.
He did win 22 games in 2001. He had a couple like awesome seasons in the early 2000s.
Not a Hall of Famer for the Cardinals, no.
He wasn't on their World Series teams.
You know what he is?
I don't know.
He's a guy who could be in, let's just say for the sake of the conversation, the Diamondbacks Hall of Fame. I could see that maybe. Rockies Hall of Fame? Sure. Cardinals? No.
He had a pretty solid year for the Giants one time, too.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. Okay, speaking of baseball here. So I was one of the many on Thursday. So I watched the first part of the game just at a local bar with some friends and went back to watch like the last 4 innings at home with my new Twins TV subscription because I have YouTube TV. So the only way for me to watch Twins games is through Twins TV. Unlike Judd, who has many ways with his Comcast subscription.
Phone,
you're paying extra for the Twins TV thing, which they duped you into.
I'm fine with it. They did not dupe me. I'm fine with it. I willingly went along, despite objections from my lovely wife.
So I tried to turn on the game, and I get like the spinning baseball graphic.
Yeah, I got that.
For like 10 minutes. Yeah, I got that. And I'm trying on my phone, and it worked on my phone. Like, I want it on the 65-inch Roku, man. I want to watch the game in my living room on the MLB app. So I go on Twitter and see, and it was a huge outage across. They're even recommending that you remove the app and re-download it. It was a whole thing. So here it is. It's MLB TV. The Twins have their new package, and some other teams, and millions of people, or I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people had issues with it. So baseball felt bad. So baseball sends an email out over the weekend. And I'm reading this straight from my inbox. Dear loyal subscriber.
I got this too.
Opening day is one of the most exciting days on the baseball calendar. It's the first chance to watch your favorite team and players start competing for a World Series championship. And for over 20 years, MLB TV has consistently given you the chance to stream those opening day games from wherever you are.
Till now.
Unfortunately, MLB TV experienced a technical issue that resulted in a temporary inability to access our live game streams. While our technical team addressed this issue immediately and restored access as soon as possible, we understand how disappointing this was to fans who were eagerly awaiting the start of the season. For that, we apologize. To thank you for your support of our national pastime, Major League Baseball would like to offer you $10 off any purchase of $25 or more at MLBshop.com using the promo code 7263 fling bling. It's like 10 digits. Wait a second.
Again,
So,
tough, yes.
so I don't even know if I was expecting anything. It's nice though. It's because this happens sometimes. I feel like wasn't there a network that gave people their money back for? This happens sometimes. Where you'll just get like a refund for a month or something. I think it was like Netflix. Netflix gave people their money back for like some issues with the Tyson fight or something.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But baseball feels bad, so they say, we'd like to offer you $10 off any purchase of $25 or more. So they're saying, we feel bad. Please give us at least $15 at MLBshop.com. I'm struggling to see how this is a deal for me. I'm paying, so I go to their shop to pay them at least $15, probably more.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I did see the Guardians stepped in and offered their fans, like free tickets or a discount on a ticket.
Okay.
So, like, I was hoping the Twins would follow suit. Hey, come to the second game or something like that on us. But that was not ideal. But once it started, it was great. But, yeah, that was not good.
Yeah. By the way, tickets are available, Dex. Twins.com/tickets. If you want to see a Twins game coming up here, they come home in a few days.
Yep, twins.com/tickets. The first 10,000 fans will score that City Connect beanie presented by your local Northland Ford dealers. Twins territory. Let's rise together and cheer on our Minnesota Twins. Go to twins.com to learn more.
Also, Dennis Kirk is back here on the Score North Twins show for the season. And Dennis Kirk has been an awesome partner for us over the past 3 or 4 seasons. You can go to DennisKirk.com to check out over 185,000 parts, apparel, and accessories for motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, dirt bikes, snowmobiles, and more. All the top brands with the most stock available compared to competitors. They also offer same-day shipping on orders placed before 8 p.m. Central and free shipping on orders over $89. So check them out, DennisKirk.com. It's we had a little blip of snow here, but it looks like riding season is going to be back in full force soon. DennisKirk.com. All right, back to Judd. Let's do one more lap here.
It's back to me. I thought it was Declan. All right, here it is. I will say it again. Every spring I say this, and every spring I'm right, and I'm not listened to.
Wait, is it on Declan?
I thought it was back to Declan. It went Declan, me, you.
No, it went you, Declan, me, right?
Oh, no, I think you're right.
With the axe bat.
You did the torpedo bat.
Yeah,
Torpedo bat.
The torpedo bat, not the axe bat.
The axe bat.
Okay, so it was me. I screwed up. My statement is, I wish I hadn't screwed up. But anyway, I'll further that statement by saying this. I say this every spring. Why doesn't the National Football League reach an agreement with the now just started opening weekend UFL to take some players like practice squad guys, ideally some quarterbacks, and put them in that league? It's a perfect league. It's perfect. It's spring football. It's competitive. It's not bad. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not bad. And I'm watching these games, or I watched part of the DC game yesterday, and I'm thinking to myself, if you're a team and you got practice squad guys, right? First of all, they're probably going to be, or for the most part, long shots to make the roster in training camp. But more importantly, they're guys that don't get to play. This league is perfect for that.
Yeah,
it's absolutely ideal and in my opinion, because these players in some way, shape, or form at least are qualified to be on rosters of NFL teams, especially QBs, but I'm talking across the board, like 5 guys each from each team. You can place in that league to play in those games. It makes so much sense. And quite frankly, I'd be more tempted to watch more games if I knew that A, some QBs who were potential pros were going to be in that league, but B, like if it's 5 Vikings guys,
yeah,
I'd be more likely to watch that league to see, just like a farm system, how those guys are developing.
I think there's always going to be a balance. I would too. Like from a consumer standpoint, it would be fun if, well, you have some recognizable quarterbacks. Kellen Mond was a starter for San Antonio Brahmas, right?
Brahmas, yes.
But there's always going to be a balance of where do you draw the line, injury risk in a league that doesn't count toward your NFL record, and which players you are willing to expose to that injury risk if you're an NFL franchise. Like for instance, Theo Jackson is a guy for the last few years. He's flashed at training camp. He's been a special teams contributor, gets some sniffs on the actual defense. Well, now that Cam Bynum is gone, Theo Jackson's going to step into probably a more, maybe even a starting role.
Sure.
Would a guy like Theo Jackson have been above or below the line the last 2 years of someone that if you had a UFL farm system situation, or would it be like your 6th round draft pick?
I would say this.
Would Brett Rippon play in that league?
I think it should be guys. I would say that the rule should be guys on your practice squad. 5 guys. So if he was on the roster, no. Because of that.
But like Levi Drake Rodriguez would play
if he's a practice
in
squad
the
guy,
UFL.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't want.
He technically he was
on the roster at times.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, practice squads are now what? 20
16?
guys?
Is it 20? It's like 16 or something.
So like you are allowed to assign 5 guys who were probably not on your active 53 the previous season to this league to play. So yeah, so if it's a quarterback, so no, in to your question, Rippon would not be. But if you have a quarterback who was on your practice squad throughout the course of the previous season, yes, he would be.
See, I'd love to see even on the other end of that, it'd be fun to watch like Joe Flacco go out there and just if you had some sort of designated higher salary player.
He could sign, right? Yeah.
He could, but he's going to make a lot more money as a
right.
3rd quarterback on the Vikings than he would as the number 1 quarterback for the Battle Hawks.
I just think it's got a real opportunity here to create more interest and for you to develop players by doing that.
How do you feel that I'll piggyback here actually off of you. Give me a little question for you guys. How do you feel that it's only really the 2nd year since the minor league merger where, okay, this is the UFL, still trying to make this a thing, trying to get TV ratings up, there's no one goes to these games, so it's not like revenue is fruitful. Right. How do you feel that players are already banding together? They were threatening to strike, then they decided to play, but they wrote a strongly worded letter to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson saying, hey, these guys that work for you, Daryl Moose Johnston and whoever else is running things on the league side,
yes, they
have been unwilling to negotiate with us in good faith on health benefits, higher pay. We want to be full-time employees with benefits for like the year. And we assume that you just don't know, Dwayne, what's happening because you're so busy. So please read this letter and give us what we want. On one hand, like, yeah, it'd be great if those guys got paid more money and if they had health benefits and all those things. On the other hand, there's no revenue yet.
Correct.
There's not like there's a little bit of a TV deal, but it's not like this league is. It's not like the NFL where we're fighting over a $15 billion chunk tomorrow. Of pie here. 100%.
I agree with you completely.
And it's going to fold if players want. That's the problem. Like, if they want double the salary or whatever, the league's probably going to fold.
But that's what I'm saying.
Dwayne's going to tell them to go buzz off.
If you got if you got the NFL to be like a feeder of some sort, right, and get some of their cash involved, like it would benefit both leagues for sure. But yes, I think this well, you're on TV, and so we deserve this and that. It's like I get where you're coming from, but at this point in time, this thing will fold. So
yeah,
if you like spring football, don't go on strike. If they go on strike, I think it's basically okay. Bye, see you later. We're done.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right, Dex, bring us.
Okay, so my question would be, what would you guys do in this situation? So on Saturday we flew back from St. Louis. And for those unaware, the flight from St. Louis to Minneapolis is like an hour flight. It's a very, very easy flight. To give you some backstory, my wife and I booked our tickets separately. Like I have my own, she has a Delta account now. I've had a Delta card. But we booked these tickets separately. She wanted to use miles to pay for them. I was like, no, I'm going to use money to pay for it because I want extra credit and stuff. So we booked these tickets separately. On the flight back, I get a notification that I have been upgraded to the Delta Comfort portion of the flight. But obviously my wife, who booked without me on my account, did not.
No, too bad.
And the flight to St. Louis, it's a very easy flight. In fact, this Delta plane I was on, my brother works on airplane engines. This was a Northwest Airlines plane that they have converted into Delta. Man. This was an old school Delta
Did it
flight.
have the cigarette ashtrays, or was it not quite that old?
That was the only thing missing from this flight. No seat back entertainment, no Delta Studio even on your phone. Like very, very generic for Delta.
Just sit there and raw dog the flight for an hour. Yeah.
I'm probably sounding like a pompous ass here, but in terms of a Delta flight, this was the most Spirit Airlines-like flight for a Delta flight.
Okay.
They charge you for your hooded sweatshirt. Yeah.
Seriously. So I told her, I was like, what do you want to do? She's like, well, you should use it. You should upgrade. You should use it. And I was like, yeah, but I'm trying to leave you hanging then with some schmuck in the back of this plane. And I was like, well, how about this? How about you use it? I was like, if do you want it? Do you want the extra leg room? It's not like that much, but like, do you want the extra leg room? Do you want to use it? And she said no. So eventually I went up right before we boarded and I just said, hey, I got upgraded. I can see my original seat's still open. I'm just going to decline the upgrade. Can you put me back next to my wife? And they said, absolutely. They declined the upgrade. They gave it to someone else. But I guess, how would you guys have handled that situation? Would you have done probably the same thing I would have done? What would you have done there?
Yeah, I would say the order of, there's three options here, really. And I think you go through in this order. Number one, offer to your wife if she wants the extra room. Okay. But usually, like, if it's first class, that's one thing. For Comfort Plus, it's a short enough flight where maybe you just take the extra leg space, but I want to hang out with my wife or husband in the opposite case. So that gets you pretty quickly to option 2, which is, should I just decline it and we sit together? Option 3 is the nuclear option, which is without asking any, you just take it and say, we'll see you after the flight's over.
How far back were
that's a
you?
consideration.
So, like, at the end of the day, where did you sit?
Yeah, this was probably like a 30-row plane, and we were probably 22, 23.
Okay.
Like
That's
behind
not
the
terrible.
exit. We did the exit row on the flight there for the extra, and I do like an exit row situation because I like the extra leg room.
Yeah, no question about it.
But the flight back, like that wasn't available when we booked this like a month ago. So we just did like, and it was a 2-3 situation. So two seats on one row, 3 seats on the other side of the plane. So
Right.
we weren't going to be next to anyone else except for each other, which is what we always try to do when we book a plane ride.
Oh, that's not bad then.
Yeah,
I think
so-
Dawn would take it.
Yeah.
So, like, if I said, I think she would take it.
Now, here's my other, I guess, dilemma in the dilemma. Let's say this was like a flight to San Diego, which we do have coming up in May. And I think we did book this one together, so hopefully this won't happen. But let's just say I get upgraded and she doesn't. Now this is going to be a nice plane ride.
That's a longer flight.
It's a longer
She'll take
plane.
it.
Yeah. I probably would have to get
Well,
it.
well-
and she'd take it and run with it.
One of you should take it. Like,
Oh, yeah, I'm
that
taking
far a flight, one of you has to take
Yeah,
it.
the options
no
are still
declining.
the same. You go through the same checklist at
But
that point.
I bet you know what? Like, Dawn would I think, take it for sure. It wouldn't be a problem, which is fine too, because, I mean,
But Comfort Plus is also like, it's not.
yeah.
They've literally created this like more expensive, slightly more leg room.
Well,
you
yes.
don't. I guess you sit a little closer to the front, but it's
And they
not,
like to upgrade you because then, so they create these things that don't exist, and then they upgrade you, and you're like, this is
You
why I'm.
feel like you're getting.
This is why I'm in
something.
Delta, because
Totally.
it used to be, I mean, first class, right?
Yeah.
And then it became business class. Oh, you're a business class traveler.
And now
like,
they have like there's economy, there's main cabin, but there's
cabin.
like
Okay.
one of them where you don't know what your seat is until you get to the airport.
I got
or
two
the
questions
gate.
for you guys.
Yeah.
2 questions. First of all, exit row. You never turn it down, right? It's the greatest thing. Like
Yeah,
it's fantastic. But if you were to have experience problems in the plane, would you really stick around, or would you open the door and get the hell out of Dodge?
So you're saying when they ask for
They
the
always
verbal
ask. They have to ask.
confirmation,
And you're always like,
sir,
oh yeah.
will you help? That you are lying? Isn't that may actually be a federal
I'm
offense
saying
that you are.
I'm saying that this is hypothetical. God forbid something were to happen. Something were to happen. No, I'm saying when you say yes, you have good intentions. It's a sunny day outside. You're about to fly somewhere. You're excited about it. I'm not saying that you're lying. I'm saying when the bleep hits the fan, would you stick around and help out?
I always like to think in my head that when the bleep hits the fan that I'm going to be, yes, I'll be leading the charge to help. But the reality is I'll probably just curl up in the fetal position.
So if it's you and your wife and you're in those seats and something happens and it's like, okay, now you two have to stay back and you can partially save her.
Well,
but
wait. Are you?
So I'm saying
no, I think they're asking just to like help open the door,
no,
right?
They
or
are.
Are
I'm
you committing
saying,
to helping everyone else get off the plane first?
I'm saying they basically.
What am I verbally committing
well,
to?
that's
all
but
these years?
have you? Do you know? I don't know.
I usually just like keep a headphone on low volume and nod or
I
say
know.
yes when.
This is why I'm asking the question.
Have they changed the terms of what I'm agreeing to
Would you
verbally
be willing?
recently?
Well, Dex, what? The last time I flew, they basically said, "Would you be willing to help in case of emergency?"
That's a vague, large bin
well,
of.
that's what I'm asking.
And I always love in the event of an unlikely emergency too.
Yeah.
That's always a key word
Yeah.
too. I think it means number one, like opening that door, which I think it says on there is like 45 or 50 pounds. So I think it's like getting that door open, and then like when, for example, the plane that tipped upside down in Toronto.
Yep.
Like there was video of people crawling out of there, and there was like 2 people on each sides of the door, like helping guide people out. Yeah, I think you'd have to open that door and stay on that plane, I think, until
That's the question.
everyone's off. Yes, I think that's.
I'm probably going to
I
save
think that's the
myself
assumption.
at that
Okay.
point.
I feel like maybe they should be more specific than it should be it should be in the case of the plane catching fire or
Next
a
time
water
you should
landing.
say-
Here is specifically what we need you to do.
You
Are
should
you
say
okay
that.
with it?
What are the expectations? Before I commit to this, what are the expectations?
Yeah, but
If we're
I have-
upside down and still alive somehow,
Okay.
specifically, what do you need me to do at
Here's
that
my
point?
issue with that.
Which
Here's
they
my
went
issue
Toronto.
with that. I need this plane in the GD air, and I don't need some guy delaying this
I agree.
process.
Okay,
I
that-
can't
you know what?
stand that. And then also, they're gonna like, oh well, do you not know what they're gonna like talk
he's
down
right.
to you? They're gonna
He's
like
right.
Feels like
basically
a
try to
curb
force you out.
episode.
Yes, it is a curve.
But I just want to know.
Larry's
Just
like,
say yes.
like what specifically? Like, I just want like what do you need specific help with?
If the requirement is open the door and leave, then I'm all over it.
open the door?
But if the requirement, I open the door. My wife and I got out. But if the requirement is open the door and like help guide people out that door, like let's say it's smoky, so people are like coming from back by the bathroom, and are you supposed to stay there and like hold the door? How does it work? Okay, my second question is this, and do not start laughing hysterically. I am not being a smartass, okay? But when you do that, Phil, you said the term on a plane now, raw dog. How did we get that term? That term means something else to me entirely.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
can't we
it's
come up with a better term? Because it's not a dirty term how you used it, but it's a very dirty term.
Yeah, I mean, it's the spirit of it is similar, and that you're going in with with nothing.
Right, that's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying. But can't we come up with a better way? I mean, I understand this, but can't we use a different term?
I will submit it to the slang.
Like, who gets to
dictionary
make words
and
up
see
now
if we
or
can-
phrases up? This is what I don't get.
But it is a new trend on planes where people
I know.
are like, just it's a 5-hour flight. I'm gonna sit there, no headphones, no backseat entertainment, and sit there in meditative silence.
Yes.
And
I
that
will
I think
not-
it also means you don't drink or eat.
Oh,
I think you just sit there.
it's just a very dirty term as far as I'm concerned, and now it's like used like normal, and it just
Yeah,
seems
I
very
don't know.
odd to me.
Yeah, just a
I will
mess.
not be telling AJ to clip. What is raw dog? Why are we using raw dogging?
Well,
Yeah,
I
we
think
can
it's a
leave
very
it
fair
out.
question now. Sorry.
I'm glad Judd broached the important questions here. Minnesota sports with Mackey and Judd. We'll see you guys.